My name is Ryan, and today I want to talk about mental health and living your best life possible. On this channel, I talk about physical health, mental health, even some spiritual ideas and philosophical concepts and stuff like that. And today I want to talk about how gratitude is underrated. And there's a lot of talk of, oh, just be grateful for your life or practice gratitude, but what does that actually mean, right? Because you know, you can talk about it all you want, but it's not really the same thing as actually doing it. And what does practicing gratitude look like, and what are its effects? And the reason I want to talk about this is because the primary two negative emotions that human beings experience are lack and fear. I don't have something, I don't have enough, therefore I want this thing. And they also experience fear that I won't get it, fear that it won't last if I do get it. Fear and lack are the two things that plague the human mind more than anything else. So if you can eliminate lack and fear from your life, you eliminate basically all of your mental suffering. And if you eliminate all of your mental suffering, you're going to live a very good, rich, adventurous life. And so the antidote to lack and fear is gratitude and love, because gratitude is quite literally saying thank you for something you have or something you appreciate, and love is the opposite of fear, because when you're feeling love, you can't also feel fear at the same time. So I didn't really get this totally. I kind of made gratitude as like an intellectual, nice idea. Like, oh yeah, of course I'm grateful for things in my life. But then I did a journal entry one day where I reflected on how much of my day was spent thinking about what I don't have versus what I do have. And then I realized 95% or more of the thoughts that I was having were about what I don't have and about what I'm trying to get. And now that doesn't mean that has to be a bad thing, right? Like you can have a goal or an ambition or something you're working towards, and that's totally fine. But 95% is excessive. And it was actually holding me back from getting more of what I was inspired or desired to get, because I wasn't happy. Because if you don't appreciate what you have, you'll never be happy. I'm sorry, it just doesn't work that way. And so, same thing too with love. Like if you don't have any feeling or sense of love in your life, and I'm not just talking about like a relationship or a friendship or a partner, but the feeling of love, the feeling that you love yourself and you love living life, if you don't have that, you're not going to be happy. And being happy is what everyone wants. And I'm not talking about like the false sense of happiness of like, ooh, I just got a new car, so I'm really happy. I mean that general feeling of like well-being. Like I enjoy life. There's things that I'm looking forward to. There's people I enjoy, things I enjoy. Life is a good experience for me. That kind of happiness. And so when I realized that, I was like, wow, that is not good. That 95% or more of my thoughts are about things that I don't have and things that I'm afraid of. No wonder I wasn't happy, because if most of your thoughts are about things that you don't have and things that you're afraid of, you're not going to be happy. I don't know if you've ever heard the quote, thoughts are things, but that's a very true sentiment. Thoughts are indeed things, and neurons that fire together wire together. We know that from neuroscience, we know that from psychology, and we know that from Eastern philosophy, practitioners of meditation, Buddhist monks, yogis, things like that. We know all of this now. We know that thoughts send out a little energetic ripple into the quantum field. This is not new information. And so if most of your thoughts are about things that are negative, your life is going to be pretty negative. And so the antidote to that is gratitude and love. And so how do we practice that? My practice is super, super simple. Right when I wake up in the morning, I make my bed, and then as I'm brushing my teeth, I'll turn on the little voice chat thing for ChatGPT, and I'll say, hey chat, or hey ChatGPT, ask me 5 things one at a time in a row that I'm grateful for, and don't say anything until I tell you. So ChatGPT will be like, all right, Ryan, what's one person you're grateful for? And I'll just be able to speak my mind. What's something that you're grateful for? What's some quality about yourself that you're grateful for? It'll ask me all these different questions, and what I was starting to find is I started asking it for 3 questions, and the practice felt so good and so calming to my nervous system that I'll have it do 10 or 15 or sometimes even 20 questions of things that I'm grateful for in my life. And you notice that you're calmer, you're more present, you feel better, you're not so stressed, you're not so anxious. And as you're going about your day, better things happen, because we also know that like vibrations attract like vibrations. So if you're living in a state of gratitude and peace and your mind and your body are calm, you're going to attract things in your life to be more appreciative of. You're going to attract better people into your life because people want to be around someone who's calm and who's happy and who's peaceful. And so this practice has not only a net positive for your internal world of your own thoughts and feelings and emotions, but it also has a direct positive on your external world, because people want to be around you when you're happy, when you're a grateful person. And so another practice that I'll do too is, if at any point in the day I'm feeling anxious or fearful or anxious of a social situation or anything like that, I'll ask myself and I'll bring into my mind, what's one thing that I love about life? Maybe it's, I love my bed or my car, like something simple like that. It could be I love a person, like my family members or my friends or something like that. Bring into your mind love more often. And really ask yourself, when was the last time that your mind and your thoughts were just resting on the concept of love? When was the last time that happened? How often are your thoughts resting on anxiety? I'm going to be late for work. I'm going to be late for this class. I'm not going to get this assignment in on time. Probably all the time. But when was the last time your mind was just naturally brought into a state of resting on love? Probably never. And when you do that, funny enough, most amazing thing happens. You feel really good. You feel really happy. And it takes a little bit of practice. But imagine if every time you felt lack or you felt fear, you instead thought of something that you were grateful for and something that you loved about life. Your life would get a lot better. And the issue with modern mental health and things like that is we live in a world with more comforts than ever before, especially if you're living in America. Like, I'm a college student who doesn't have exuberant amounts of money, but I have a car, a bed, a place to live, food in my fridge. I have clothes that I like. I have technology. I have headphones. I have a gym membership. Like, I have more than some of the wealthiest people had like 200 years ago. And I'm just some normal college student. So that's something to be grateful for. And despite these modern comforts and luxuries that we have, more people, I think it's something like 50 or 40% of people experience anxiety and depression, and like 20 to 40% of people, it might even be more now amongst adults, are on some type of anxiety or depression medication. And this is the issue with modern mental health. People think that by getting more on the outside, they'll feel better on the inside. And there's nothing wrong with getting something on the outside. That's totally okay. But the inside and the outside don't directly correlate. That's why we find, rich people who are really upset about their lives, and rich people who commit suicide or destroy their lives or their relationships because they're not happy, even though they have all these things. Because things eventually fade. Right? Like, it's not bad to have things that you enjoy. I really enjoy this cutoff that I'm going to wear to the gym later. But eventually, whether it's in a year or in 10 years or 50 years, this shirt is going to be worn through. It's going to get some hole, or someone's going to tear it, or I'm going to get, a coffee stain on it or something. Things fade, but your experiences in life don't. The richer your experiences are, the richer and healthier your inner world is when you're filled with gratitude and love and things like that, the more likely you are to be adventurous, to take chances, to have new experiences, and to attract better relationships into your life, which are the real things that move the quality of your life. So it's not that external things are bad per se, but if you don't understand the importance of your inner world when it comes to the quality of your life is never going to be as good as it could be. And that's the issue with modern mental health. We have so many things, but we don't have inner peace. We don't have a feeling of inner freedom. We don't have a feeling of even being remotely okay with ourselves. That's why we have people who struggle with so much body dysmorphia, people who struggle with, just so many different kinds of mental health stuff. And I bet you probably know someone who's on some type of anxiety medication or depression medication who still has anxiety and still has depression. I'm not saying that medication can be bad. Medication just makes symptoms of anxiety and depression temporarily more manageable. It doesn't actually do anything long-term to fix the underlying issue of anxiety and depression, because anxiety and depression is when your mind and the thoughts of your mind and the feelings of your heart are working against you and not for you. And the way to solve that is with practice, because no one's ever taught you how to do that. So you got to actually practice it, right? Like, it's kind of like learning how to type on a keyboard. At first you have to memorize where every, little keyboard typing letter is. Then you get a little bit better until you can just do it automatically. And so you've trained your mind to automatically be drawn into states of stress and fear and anxiety. It would make sense then that you have to train your mind to do something different in order to feel peace, joy, and love. And it's something that you have to change. It's not something that a pill or a therapist or any kind of medication can change. Those things can help, but you have to do it. So that's what I've discovered about lack and fear and gratitude and love, and how those practices make your life and your mind so much healthier and so much better. Because the truth is, you're here for a very short amount of time. You know, in the grand scheme of the universe, your human life, this amazing experience that we get to have, where we get to form relationships and learn things and have experiences, is 100 years if you're lucky. For most people, it's a lot shorter. And how many of those years are you fully healthy and capable as a human being? Probably even less than that. And now, spiritually speaking, I certainly believe this, that the soul goes on. And I'm not any type of religious affiliation or anything like that. I have no religious affiliations. But whatever that inner consciousness is, or that inner light, or that inner awareness, you know, that probably goes on to some other lifetimes and other stuff like that. But this life that you get to live as this you with these experiences are temporary. And you want to make sure that you're living them to the fullest. Because when you're 80 years old, you're not going to be thinking of, dang, I really wish I had bought that t-shirt that I wanted. Or I really wish I had worried more about my homework. That was really going to be the thing that made my life better. No, you're going to say, dang, I wish I spent more time being grateful for what I had and experiencing more peace, more joy, and more love. And in order to experience those things, you've got to practice them. So make those a lifelong practice. Peace, joy, and love, gratitude. Practice those things, because then your inner state, your nervous system, your health, your mind, your heart are all going to be functioning better. And when those things are functioning better, you're going to live a better life. You're going to experience way better relationships. You're going to experience way more synchronicity and unfoldments in your life, and your whole life is going to get better. So don't waste your life. Don't live in anxiety. Don't live in stress. Don't live in fear. Practice the opposite of those things, because you're only here for a little while. So you might as well enjoy the experience. You might as well have an amazing, incredible time, because life is a miracle and your life is a miracle. Anyways, that was my rant on gratitude and fear and love and mental health. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you were able to take something from it, and consider subscribing if you want to learn about physical health and gym stuff, if you want to learn about mental health, emotional health, different ideas that are interesting to me, and anything else. And if you want me to talk about something because you found this interesting, leave it in the comments section below. And I hope you have a wonderful day. Thanks.